Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for coming to this evening's program. Maybe you all can come closer. There's no need to be so far away. It's better. You don't need to look everywhere. Okay, so today's discussion is on appreciating or understanding the importance of reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Not just one or two books, but all his books. Just like there, you can see the Srimad Bhagavatam, you can see the Bhagavad Gita and Krishna book. So like that, there's many books Srila Prabhupada has written. And so it's very nice to understand why it's important to read his books. When you try to read Prabhupada's book, it's like you actually come to a book, or it's like a mountain of realization. So it's like trying to climb a mountain full of realization. And then every text he writes reveals a different way of seeing things in this material world, has a new attitude, new feelings, spiritual understanding, and then finally he gives us how to practice also. So when you read Prabhupada's book, you actually go deep into the ocean of knowledge, of knowing who you are, how to relate to the Supreme Person, and you see each scripture. You can uncover the intricacies, different layers of meaning and understanding, and also how the wisdom of Srila Prabhupada can affect our lives in a positive way. Ultimately understanding that we are part and parcel of Krishna, servant of Krishna, lovers of Krishna, like that. Now you may also come across books that are not written by devotees, maybe in a bookstore or whatever. There is many different versions you find, right? Different Bhagavad Gitas by different authors and so on. Or even philosophers in the universities, they'll write some paper or a book on some aspects of the Bhagavatam and so on. So, unlike those books, Prabhupada is a devotee, and so when a devotee writes, he writes with a feeling, he writes with a connection with the Supreme Lord. Whereas non-devotees, they're just writing for their academic pursuit or some philosophical understanding they think is right. But Prabhupada writes with devotion, and he also aligns with Krishna's aims, Krishna's thoughts, and his instruction. And all that you can only be understood by a devotee, not by any mundane scholar or philosopher like that. So therefore, Prabhupada's book, if you truly read properly, you'll see that it actually opens a gate to even understanding not only yourself, but the willingness to have a spiritual transformation that will make you connect with the Supreme Lord. And more so because you will understand more of our spiritual traditions better. Now you have an idea, but if you read more and more, you'll understand how this tradition is so important and how it's good to transform ourselves to appreciate this tradition. Okay? So not only that, you'll find his purports. If you read, it gives you all of us, not only some realization, but it gives you a powerful shift in our consciousness. We may be thinking in a very mundane way or very fixed, dull way, but his purpose allow us to shift from those ideologies, consciousness that drags us down. So it's very powerful like that. And when you do it nicely, you find that you will come to understand what is attachment and what is detachment. When you are attached to Krishna, you automatically detach from material objects. And you understand everything is energies of Krishna and how to use it in the service of Krishna. Not only that, it gives you clarity of why some injunctions are there, why some rules are meant to be followed, and then finally you realize there's so much happiness in doing devotional service. You will find that. You will actually experience it. Krishna says, right? Susukam kartum avyayam. When you do it, you feel joyful. You must feel joyful. If you're not feeling joyful during devotional service, then you are in the wrong place. You should go somewhere. So his books are accessible. If you look at his books, you find, although it's easy read, it's also very deep. A lot of deep realization of philosophies. And also you find he is so intelligent, or he follows his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in writing the Sanskrit verses, then he gives a word for word meaning. So that you won't be bewildered by why he translated in a certain way. And then finally he gives his understanding, and the purports flow very, very nicely throughout all his books. You see his purports will bring from a point, and the theme is brought to completion and proper conclusion. So it is very ideal for both the beginners and someone who is a scholar. And they look at Prabhupada's book, they can see it. You can see also a lot of reviews in the Bhagavad Gita. Scholars have given their opinions or opined that this is a good book. So therefore, we can appreciate Prabhupada's book. And then not only that, his book is very engaging and it invites participation. It's like a living tradition. You can actually see it manifest in your own life. It encourages regular hearing, Shravanam. It encourages Kirtan, Shravanam, Kirtanam, chanting. And then it also encourages one to study carefully. Right? You can read, but you will forget. But if you put in the effort to study his books, then you understand how one's devotional life should be maintained, to be practiced, etc., like that. And not only that, his purpose allows us to incorporate the teachings in our daily practice, devotional practices also. And that's why his book is dynamic and it's available forever. He says his book is will be the law books for 10,000 years. So there's so much potency there. So, and the text, although it is based on 5,000 years ago, it is not a historical text and to be left as such. No, it's ever fresh. Just like Krishna is Nava Yovanam, this Shastra is also ever fresh. They're not different from Krishna. Srila Prabhupada gave a lot of emphasis on reading his books from the very beginning, from the very early days. He gave this. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj once explained in a discussion in Bombay, I think he was saying how that once he he was walking into a room where Prabhupada was in his quarters. So he walked into Prabhupada's quarters. And then he saw Prabhupada reading Prabhupada's own Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada was reading, and then, Prabhupada reads, and then he looks up and looked at Gopal Krishna Maharaj and said, I read my own books. I read my Bhagavad Gita every day myself. Then he looked at him and said, so should everyone. So therefore, we should understand that Prabhupada himself is reading, which means that there's so much he finds is potent, that is helping in his own Krishna consciousness. Although he writes it, it seems funny, it seems odd. You write your book and you read your book. No, he isn't seeing it as his invention. He's seeing it as Krishna's contribution to the world, and therefore he is able to access the intricacies and the deep understanding in the Bhagavad Gita. For that matter, all the books that he wrote. So, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and Madhya Leela, in the purport, 25th chapter, 278 verse, he writes there in the purport, all of the devotees connected with this Krishna consciousness movement must read all of the books that have been translated. All, not 1 or 2%, all. That includes Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna book, every book that he has written, we should read. Then Prabhupada continues, otherwise, after some time, they will simply eat, sleep, and fall down from their position. Very serious statement in the purport. And then he says, thus they will miss the opportunity to attain an eternal blissful life of transcendental pleasure. Okay, if you don't read Prabhupada's book, you will say, Prabhupada don't know. You don't understand my situation. Right? People will say, what does Prabhupada know? He's not here. Times have changed. But this is a pure devotee. He's not an ordinary person. Based on his abilities, based on what he did in the 12 years or 14 years that he was in this earth, whatever he did when he became Acharya for those years, it's impossible. An ordinary person cannot do what he did. So therefore we should understand whatever he's giving because he is very concerned. And so when he says read his books, he wants us to read and go back to Godhead, not hang around here. What is there to hang around? Right? Most people want to just hang around. Hang around for what? Right? So we should understand the importance of reading regularly Srila Prabhupada's book, and then take up the practices that he's discussing in the books. We should also know Krishna consciousness is a science, and therefore you cannot expect to execute it properly just like that. It takes a lot of effort. So if you don't know what are the teachings, how can you execute properly? Right? It's not possible. Like for example, your friend gives you a recipe to cook, right? But you don't look at the recipe, and then you try to make it. What will you get? What will you get? Mud. You get mud. You get nothing. You get some burnt stuff. You don't know what you're doing. It's just like Prabhupada also says, one can go on for some time without eating, but eventually your health will become bad if you don't eat properly. And similarly, if you don't study the books, then you do not know how to apply as a devotee. Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Adi. That means they don't understand the value and they will create a problem of the Shastra. Or I heard something but they never read or understood it. It doesn't mean you are enthusiastic, therefore you can do anything you want. It does not mean like that. But what it means is you have to act according to scriptural injunction. That is what we call sadachar. The other day I was mentioning. Unless you follow sadachar properly, you cannot actually approach Krishna. You cannot develop your Krishna consciousness properly. So therefore, when you read Prabhupada's books, you develop your sadachar properly. Otherwise, you will end up creating disturbance in the society, and then new people come, they also get disturbed by you. Because you don't know what you're talking about. There's a letter he wrote to Dayananda, July 7, 1968. He writes to him, this is in the early days. Please regularly chant Hare Krishna and read Srimad Bhagavatam. And very soon you will get other books also, like Bhagavad Gita as it is. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And always read and talk about Krishna between yourselves. And always remember that this life is but a flash only. Like that. In the whole scheme, the universal time, our life is nothing. This goes off. We have to seek after our eternal life. Again, he's saying that there is an eternal life, so we have to go for it. We have to seek eternal life in Krishna consciousness and be transferred to the spiritual world in the association of Krishna. Continue to keep your present attitude, and certainly even within this life you will be successful in attaining perfection of Krishna consciousness. So you can see he's so emphatic about reading the Shastra and applying it in one's life. So you have to be serious. You cannot just say, oh, I'm already initiated, Om Tat Sat, finished. You know, it won't work. It's not in our favor. Otherwise you're all wasting your time. You might as well go home and watch some Netflix. If you want to make changes, if you really want to go back to Godhead, you have to apply. The application is very important. So you can see in this letter he's indicating, that reading his book daily basis. If I were to ask you all, most of you will be very embarrassed to say how much you are reading. Prabhupada himself used to read like 3 to 4 hours a day. So he said, Grihastha in the early days, he said 4 hours. So everyone's thinking 4 hours, I can't afford 4 hours, I got so many important things to do. Right? Yeah. But you, as I mentioned the other day, work-life balance, you should allocate, prioritize time for even reading. Yeah, so similarly we should also be able to chant the Hare Krishna nicely. Now he also mentions in this letter that if you, he kind of promises, he makes that if you maintain this desire to read about Krishna, definitely you will return back to Godhead, because that's your desire. That's your desire. So if you are always focused on Krishna, that is what will be in your consciousness. So the foundation, Krishna conscious movement, is on the books, on his books. So he says also books are the basis. So everything you want to know about our movement, how to move on with your life, is in the books. You have to allocate time to read these books. And these books are non-different from Krishna himself. The other thing is, Prabhupada's commentaries of purport is there is authenticity in the commentaries, meaning he has looked through all the acharyas, previous acharyas, and then he's taken all the nectar and then he's put it in the book. So you don't have to read other books. Everything is there. He said that also. He said, everything I've given, there's nothing else to give. If anyone tells you Prabhupada didn't give you this, then he is your enemy. Yeah, he's your enemy. Or they don't know what they're talking about. Everything is there. When you're ready, Krishna will send some eternal associate to come and train you further. You don't need someone else in some Radha Kun and get some mantra to be a peacock or something. Yeah. You don't need all that. Yeah. Because he presents the scriptures through the Guru Parampara. Authentic, very authentic. He has never put himself in the Shastra. Very rarely you find, maybe in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Srimatam, what is that? I forgot. Where he says those who take birth after a short practice and so a long practice, they take birth in a Vaishnava family. So there he says, we were very fortunate to have taken birth in a Vaishnava family. That's about all he praises himself about. Mostly he's talking about how to go back to Godhead. And all the message you read in his book is very faithful to Vyasadev's original words and Krishna's words. Very faithful. So we should accept that. Srila Prabhupada is our well-wisher. So we also find, as you read his letters, you read his conversations, you find Prabhupada would repeatedly stress his purpose in publishing his books. Why? He said to create and to maintain devotees. Prior to Srila Prabhupada coming to the West, there was hardly a Krishna devotee. No Krishna devotee. But as soon as they read Prabhupada's book, immediately so many devotees. So many of us. Even I was amazed by his books and the knowledge. It's a revelation. It's a revolution that you can understand. He is actually giving you so much mercy to know who you are. So his books are so potent that anyone reads can understand, yes, I'm a spirit soul, I'm suffering here. And at the same time, those who are devotees, when they read, they feel solace. Oh, I'm in the right path. If I just do it nicely, I'll go back to Godhead. So it's very nice. So, and his desire is that we become spiritually strong. How can we become spiritually strong when we don't read his books? Not possible. Nor can we share our realization if you don't read sufficiently. What realization will you have if you're not reading? Nor can you see the material nature properly, nor can you understand how it is affecting you. You can't unless you understand Srila Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada said that his books should create a spiritual revolution. That's what he wanted. So he says that in the teachings in his books are non-different from Krishna. Shastric books are like that. Any books that are written by acharyas, pure devotees, they are non-different because they have invested all their love for the Lord in their books, in their writings. And so they are revealing the Lord Krishna and his associates to all of us. That's what he writes in the preface to the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Non-different from the Lord, the teachings in the book. And in the preface to Krishna book, he says, We therefore ask everyone to take advantage of this great transcendental literature. One will find that by reading one page after another, an immense treasure of knowledge in art, science, literature, philosophy, and religion will be revealed. And ultimately, by reading this one book, Krishna, love of God, will fructify. Just one book, he said. So, are you reading or will you read? So Prabhupada also said to his disciples, if you want to know me, I mean, he's not just saying his disciples, all of us, if you want to know me, read my books. By reading Prabhupada's book, you can understand his mood, his mission, his goals, his mercy. So this he said even in 1968, and he all throughout his pastime, he was saying, please read my books. Not just read it carefully. He is our preeminent Siksha Guru. Therefore, his instructions are eternal for us, always. If we want to say we are Prabhupada Nugas, we have to know what Prabhupada's teachings are. If you read his books daily, it's no opportunity to not remember Krishna. Right? Isn't it? There's no opportunity to not remember Krishna. Every opportunity he gives to remember Krishna. And one of his favorite thing he tells the disciples was to, just before you go to bed, you read Krishna book. Why? He wanted us to remember Krishna as you fall asleep. Now hopefully one day you will dream about Krishna. And in the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada quotes from the Skanda Purana, a person who is constantly engaged in reading literature enunciating the cultivation of Vaishnava devotional service is always glorious in human society, and certainly Lord Krishna becomes pleased with him. A person who very carefully keeps such literature at home and offers respectful obeisances to it becomes freed from all sinful reactions and ultimately becomes worshipable by the demigods. It's far out. You keep it, you worship, you read it, you become exalted. It is from the Vedic scripture. So it is readily, look at it, Prabhupada's books are readily available for us. We should not, however, be like the homeowner who simply keeps prestigious books, coffee table book and this. So don't make Prabhupada's book into a coffee table book. It's meant to study. In fact, you go to some home, they have coffee table books, you ask them what's in it, they will say, I don't know. Most people don't even, they just want to show, it looks good. Looks good on the table. Because they really don't have desire to read. So we shouldn't keep Prabhupada's book and have no desire to read. That's very unfortunate. Then you are Manda. No, Sumanda. So it's not good. So ultimately, it's up to each and every one of you, where you want to be. Or when you are dying, what are you going to say? Prabhupada, I didn't read your book. Save me. Oh yeah, you can call. It is our responsibility, You have to be responsible for your own spiritual strength, your spiritual determination, Others can pray for you, but you have to show to the Lord that you are sincere. So therefore, to remain strong in spiritual life, you can do it by studying Prabhupada's books. And not only once you study, you understand certain things, you can share with others. So you can encourage the other person. no, do it this way, it's good, it's nice, it has helped me. That's what a community is about, a spiritual community, helping one another. Why? Because we all want to go back to Godhead, you know. It's not like you go back to Godhead and you see your neighbor there, hey, what are you doing here? It's not like that. That's not our philosophy. Why are you here? That guy will say, why are you here? It's not our philosophy. We are so happy if anyone goes back to Godhead. That's Vaishnava. In fact, a Vaishnava principle is, you go back, I'll still stick around and help others. Yeah? So we should cultivate that quality. So read, understand, not to show that I know a lot. That's not the mood. The mood is, I can understand how to apply it now. So I'm sharing. Not that, oh, I'm a jnani. But jnana is not what Krishna wants. Anya vilasita shunyam jnana karmadi anavirtam. No, we don't want jnana or karma. If you still go through jnana, then it's jnana mishra bhakti, but it's not the pure bhakti. It's mixed with knowledge, and it's not the topmost. That's only Brahma jnana at most. We want to go back and do service eternally with Krishna. Dance with him in the Vrindavan. Alright, so we can help each other, we can preach to each other for the benefit. And when you read Prabhupada's book, you feel enthusiastic. I should do this, I should do this. Now you call people, come and do something, oh, Prabhu, it's so cold, you know. Oh, I don't want to come, you know. It's too difficult, traffic. But if you read Prabhupada's book, even traffic, the cold, everything moves aside like Moses walking in the Red Sea. Everything moves away, and then you can just easily go and serve. It is joy to do service, actually. It's very exciting, you know. Wow, like when you come to cook for the deities, or when you're on the altar doing arati. Wow, you know, this is like in Vaikuntha, actually. That's actually what you do in Vaikuntha, by the way. You do arati and all. You dress them and all. It's actually, that's why Prabhupada made us do all this. Archa service is actually going on eternally in the spiritual world. So how do you know? Because you read Prabhupada's book, you know it's going on eternally. It gives you an understanding of what happens in the spiritual world also. So the spiritual strength for you to be enthusiastic, to be able to do service, to be able to give others the knowledge you have, are all based on reading Prabhupada's books. No other way. It's not possible. Where do you think all of us are getting the knowledge from? Right? We are world-class movement, but where do you think the knowledge is coming from? From Prabhupada's books. So everything is based on Prabhupada. Now, if you have challenges in life, the best book for you to read is Bhagavad Gita. Because that book, that Bhagavad Gita is spoken in the battlefield where Arjuna is really in a conundrum. He doesn't know what to do. To kill my relatives. See how Maya drags people away. Yeah. Even though you are in front of the Lord. When Bhaktisiddhanta once gave sannyas to one of his disciples, and he took sannyas, and he was sitting and listening to Bhaktisiddhanta. Then his wife came, and she dragged him out, and the man didn't even fight. Sannyasi, he took sannyas, he didn't even fight, and she dragged him out. Bhaktisiddhanta cried. He said, I can't even save him. So material energy is very powerful. If you read Prabhupada's book, you will never get bewildered. That's why when you come to the temple room, you should turn off your phones. There should be a sign you should put there. Yeah, you should put saying no phone in the temple. Silence, please. You should. Why not? This is a sacred space for us. Why you want to let the material energy come in and take over, right? If you are, unless you are working for the Premier of Australia and he wants to talk to you, then okay. Otherwise, why? You're so important, you need your phone. Unless it's life and death, someone kidnapped your son or daughter, then you need to. That's okay, but otherwise, no. Right? So Bhagavad Gita, you all should be reading every day so that you can meet the challenges of day-to-day problems that you see. And in another letter, Srila Prabhupada wrote, this is November 14, 1968, to Aniruddha. You should all read very carefully Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and should be able to answer all questions. And only in rare cases approach me for the answers. But it is important that our students must be able to answer all questions for becoming preachers. So he wanted us to share this knowledge. So, which means if we want to share our knowledge with new people out there, we must know the books. So it's important. Read the books. Unless you're pure devotee, you won't have revelations. Our revelations are all in the books already. So we should read it, and then we will know when to use it, because that's our revelation. Oh yeah, I read that in Prabhupada's book. Now I'm going to reveal it to this person. I'm going to share it and see if it works. Sometimes you think you know all the answers. But Krishna will send someone who will ask too many questions you can't answer. But then what you do, you depend on Krishna and say, I have given all that I know. Then you tell them, I'll give you Prabhupada's books. The answer is in the book. You can't say, the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. It's not like that. It's not blowing in the wind, it's in Prabhupada's books. So we must have the ability to answer as many questions people ask. It could be intricate, it could be complex, but if you read Prabhupada's book, all those complexity and intricate things become simple. Actually, Prabhupada's book is so simple. It's not written in a very scholars write. Have you seen scholars' papers? They write it so you don't understand. So you can't question them. So they use all these big words, very tight, like sutras. Yeah. Only another scholar can look at it and talk to them. It's like, a special club. But Prabhupada didn't want special clubs. Prabhupada wanted everyone to be in the same club. It's like golf course, you go, right? Only if you have $1 million, you can join the golf club. All you have to do, then after that, all everyone does is hit a silly ball, for 18 holes, walk and hit. People pay them millions of dollars. I still can't understand why. Right? They get the $1 million and all the fools are watching and they're not getting any money. This is the world you are living in. So when you read and then you will have knowledge, that knowledge will become realized in your life as you maneuver through difficult situations in life or different scenarios. And as you see it, you can see the parallels in what the scripture is saying. And then you'll have a realization that you can share with others. And that will open a different avenue for people you meet. For them, it'll be easy. sometimes it's very hard, you go through. But then when you have a realization, it becomes so easy to give it to someone else. You can share immediately. Yeah. It's like a shortcut, actually. Now we have poor memories, all of us have, not all, at least I know I have poor memories. But it doesn't mean you read once and then that's it. No, you have to read the same thing over and over again. I remember the first time I read the Bhagavad Gita, there were things I could not really relate to. But over a period of time, then I read the same thing and say, oh, that's what it means. And then you read again, oh, another understanding. I didn't know that. Krishna is kind. He has allowed me to understand it now. Different viewpoints. Yeah. We are not Shrutidar. That means you hear once and you remember forever. We are not Shrutidar. Yeah. There may be people like that, very rare, but most of us are not. So we need to refer to the books, and it's okay. It's okay. Nothing wrong. So Prabhupada also suggests to his disciple, this is July 29, 1969, you must read Bhagavad Gita at least a few verses every day and think about them throughout the day. Have to. Right? So that's how you remember verses. The best way to memorize is to write. Don't type. When you type with your fingers, you can't remember. But when you write it, it is easier to memorize. Write it a few times and you'll remember. Of course, you have to close it and then try to recall. But it's easier to recall when you write it. It's a connection through your brain. But when you type with fingers, you cannot remember. Try it. Unless you're Shrutidar, you can't. Okay. And then the other thing is, he wanted his leaders, especially, to be able to answer questions. Obviously, he wanted his temple presidents and all the people holding position, because it's important. In normal circumstances, a newer devotee will go to a temple president or anyone connected to management and ask for questions. So he wanted everyone to be able to answer questions. So, like a temple president is supposed to be the spiritual and philosophical leader of any Hare Krishna center, actually. But it doesn't mean the others don't have to read. Doesn't mean the others should only remain dull and dumb. In modern society, the governance is, they don't want people to have knowledge. So they can control and manipulate. But we don't want that. We want each and every one to be able to know who Krishna is and go back to Godhead. So, but still, the authorities should know the book so that they can help others who are seeking answers, who have questions, then we can guide them. And that's our responsibility. So each and every one of you, although you may not hold the biggest position, still you are a leader in the community. At least you'll be a leader to one or two people that you meet. So therefore it's important that we read Prabhupada's book. So to have spiritual strength again and to steadily guide and to encourage, you must know Prabhupada's books again. Therefore it's important. And the only way you will know is if you are regularly reading Prabhupada's books. Right? We are not worried about management because it's more than the ability to manage we are talking about. Yeah. An accountant or a hired, what is that? Pete and Warwick, all those big Deloitte managers, you cannot take them and put in a temple to run a temple. They won't know anything about how to manage devotees. They'll probably quit the same day. So, because of all these things, the program of reading daily starts with the managers. Okay, you have to set good examples. Because if the managers or the leaders in the community don't read Prabhupada's book, you can't expect your followers to read, or the community to read also. It's not going to happen. Right? That's how it is. I've seen it all over the world when I travel. People follow the leaders. Yadachariti is restless. They will follow whatever the leader does. If the leader is a rascal, the most people will turn out to be rascals also. Right? So that's why when you read the Bhagavatam and so on, you can see exalted personalities and how the people around him are influenced also. If the leader is a crook, the commoner also will become a crook. If the leader cheats, the commoner will also cheat others. We will see, right? We have seen all these things. Yeah. So, just like we take breakfast every day, lunch or dinner, or maybe just breakfast and dinner, depending on how some of you eat, the same way we should read daily Prabhupada's books. Right? If you miss Prabhupada's book, then you must miss one meal. Right? If you make your life structure like that, then you say, I better read so I can eat. So then the question is, do we eat to read or do we read to eat? Right? So leaders must, all you leaders, you better read. If you can't read, then at least hear audiobooks. Reading is the best, but audiobooks will suffice for now. So play it while you go to work, driving, or in the bus, or in any place you are. You can listen to lectures or Prabhupada or whatever. It's good. So that your spiritual strength is there and you can guide others. In fact, Srila Prabhupada's program is a sandwich program, right? Morning Bhagavatam class, evening Bhagavad Gita class. In between you do service. So therefore, you should understand, he wanted us to also read nicely. Morning and evening. Read a little bit. Obviously, you are all so busy because you are required in this world to save others. So you can read at least 15 minutes before you go to work. And then when you come back from work, you can give some time, another 15 minutes, And then hopefully you will increase it in due course of time, yeah. And Srila Prabhupada also recommended, when he was writing letters, he was recommending the junior devotees to always consult the senior devotees. And therefore the senior devotees should read Prabhupada's book to answer the things. Mostly people who come to the spiritual masters and ask him about material things. Oh, I just lost my job. Instead of asking the spiritual master, how can I go back to Godhead? Or my wife is not helping me, or my husband is not helping me. These are the things they come and tell the spiritual master. What to do? If they all read Prabhupada's books, then they won't have these problems. The solution is there, right? Remember I mentioned previously, matter is a subset of spirit. So, material problems can be solved by spiritual activities. Jai Shri Shri Gonitai Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gona Baladev Sudharamai Ki Jai. So everyone should read Prabhupada's book again so that you can look after others. Now, yeah, when you have meetings or Istagosti or whatever, then when there are different issues, those who have read Prabhupada's book generally give a lot of ideas. Those who haven't read will just not know what to say, you know. Yeah. So therefore, it's good to read. There's so much knowledge Prabhupada is giving, right? So many things. The whole Varnashram system is there in the books. If you read carefully, how to set it up, how to run it, everything. Sometimes the questions may be difficult, but if you have read Prabhupada's books, there's inspiration from reading. You will come up with wonderful answers sometimes, and you will astonish yourself. How did I manage to answer that question? It's because the Lord in the heart is revealing also, based on Prabhupada's teachings. Okay, I think I'll stop here because I'll just let you all ask questions and then see if we can have some discussions or whatever. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. It was very, very painful. I want to ask that you so much nicely emphasized the importance of reading Srila Prabhupada's book. So sometimes we see that people going to the other places, and they kind of enrollment,
Different groups.
Yeah, Radha group like this, and they are getting the best of the best of the best at ISKCON, from Srila Prabhupada. But just because, previous mindsets, they go there, and can we also say that it's like if they send if they keep to one school, but they want to send to 2-3 schools, does it make sense? Can you please enlighten us?
I think, the problem, most people go to different places because they are not convinced. They don't have faith, and they're not reading Prabhupada's books. If you read Prabhupada's books, immediately you can identify different groups who say they know how to access the spirit and so on. When you hear the philosophy they are espousing, right, you will immediately know there's no substance in it. Because Prabhupada goes through all the different types of philosophies, and he reveals to us how to identify fallacy in some of those discussions by different groups, And at the end of the day, it's up to us to make the choice. No one can force us. Even Krishna can't tell you to take up Vaishnavism. You have to decide. Yeah? That's free will. We cannot control the free will of those individuals who want to go somewhere. We can pray for them and hope that they come back in the right path. But they may not see this as the right path. For them, they want some other things, and so they may go there. And as practitioners of Krishna consciousness, the reaction we should do is we pray for them and we wish them well, but we do not wish bad for them. Because they are also Krishna's dear sons or daughters. So my understanding of people who leave is because 2 reasons. One is they don't know the philosophy, right? The second reason they leave is because they commit offenses. And so Krishna personally will say maybe they need something else to refresh, or reset. Okay, yeah.
Just a follow-up question to Guruism. So, if new devotees who are coming favorable towards Krishna consciousness, but are not interested in philosophy, but are attracted to other types of activities like kirtan or prashadam or services, how do we encourage them?
I think that's okay in the beginning, but by making friends with them and being a genuine well-wisher of them, they will then understand when you propose that they should do some courses to know the philosophy also, they will accept that. But if the first day someone walks in and you say sign up for this course, it's like, doesn't make sense. It's not like university, which course you have to do. They have to see good examples They have to see genuine compassion, empathy, all these things we have to also show. In doing that, in showing that we are really their well-wishers, then they will hear us. Otherwise they can't hear. Because kirtan is very neutral, and they don't have to talk to anyone. So therefore a lot of people go for kirtan mostly. But in hearing the holy name, they are also getting purified, and eventually they take prasadam and they are hearing from a well-wisher. That will have a positive effect. Yeah. Okay.
Srila Prabhupada gives the example that, like a father, the sons are giving him a massage, but they forget about the father, and they're all trying to massage the way they want to, and they say cause the father pain.
Mm.
So sometimes in our movement, unfortunately, that because devotees don't read Srila Prabhupada's books, they don't actually understand what Srila Prabhupada wants. And therefore they have their own idea, or we have our own idea or concept of how to spread Krishna consciousness, and therefore we fight. So Srila Prabhupada, I just wanted to read this, where Prabhupada writes to someone, won't mention their names, but he says, you have dedicated your life for Krishna, and therefore you should be ideal. We are introducing Krishna consciousness movement for the harmony and goodwill of humanity. But if you yourselves are suffering from the very ills we are trying to remove, how can the people be influenced favorably? Stop this fighting. Tolerate, chant, and read our books. Use the intelligence and do some service for Krishna. My request to you is to not fight anymore. And I think that's the thing, is with this situation, is that the fighting comes from not reading Srila Prabhupada's books properly, so that we can all, as the saying goes, like a book has many pages.
Yeah.
But if we're all on the same page, then we can be a bit more harmonious.
Yeah. Nice. More reason to read Prabhupada's books. Right? Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I've been mentioning I'm engaged in other organizations as well. So I'm always told why you don't wanna I've been given this answer from senior devotees as well. I'm always told, oh, why you don't go for the original? Why you are reading Prabhupada's book? Go for the original, And I'm if you do have you, and I ask them, have you read this one? Have you literally read this one? And then they say no. But you go and read this one, and then this is the original. They always try to persuade me, I know, I've read Prabhupada's book, and he's directly pointing towards Krishna. He's not pointing here, there. He's not trying to argue about the history or anything. He's just pointing straight to the Godhead. So that's what people don't like. They like just little bit of drama, little bit of history, and then little bit of things how do I convey myself better.
No, I think you're doing well. That's why Prabhupada called Bhagavad Gita as it is. It's exactly what Krishna spoke, and this is the way you understand. Most people don't want it as it is. They want their own version. And that's why they cannot become devotees. What is the last instruction Krishna gives to Arjuna?
For everything.
Yeah, Sarva Dharmam Parityaja Dharmam. So if they have read their version, original version, right? Yeah. So why they not surrendering to Krishna? Rascals. Right? Yeah. So you should understand, they don't know, they are not even understanding the original books. So you tell them this is also original. Make simple. Yeah. You know, there's sometimes you go to bookstore, they say, you know, what is that? Learn something for the dummies, right? They say something like that. So you can say we are all dummies in this age, and then Prabhupada has given the Bhagavad Gita as it is for the dummies. So that you can understand, but don't remain a dummy like you. You can tell them that.
Even one time, like, they were saying, oh, you should do yoga and things like. I said Krishna has given 18 yoga in Srimad, Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
How many yoga you want? There is like in each page.
Probably they're talking about asanas.
Yeah, they are talking about asana. But there is
Okay, you should ask him what is the goal of asanas.
Yeah.
Right? What is the goal of Hatha Yoga? Astanga Yoga. Ask him to tell you all the angas in the Astanga Yoga first. And then the last one is Dharana, and then Dhyana and Samadhi. So ask him why you're practicing, where's your Samadhi? That's all. They just talk. That's why if you read Prabhupada's book, you can answer them. Right? Yeah. Yes.
Krishna Maharaj, what should our mood be when we read Srila Prabhupada's book?
In a humble mode, before you read, you pray to Srila Prabhupada and to the deities and say, I would want to understand. Please bless me so that I will take some valuable instructions to heart. And then you start reading. And then at the end you thank them for giving you some, yeah.
Srila Prabhupada, in his books, says that we should learn the book Bhagavatam from the person
Bhagavatam,
So I
yeah.
was wondering if you could discuss this.
Yeah, there is the book, the Bhagavatam, and then the person Bhagavatam. The person Bhagavatam is a personality, is a guru, a spiritual master, or someone who has understood the purport of Bhagavatam, someone who knows how to deliver a person the messages that Krishna wants to give. So we approach those personalities because we cannot directly approach Krishna. Although we may even read the book, we may not completely understand. But when we approach a person who is realized, he's a book Bhagavatam, he knows the meaning behind it. And so it's like sometimes in Asia, if you travel, you see the mothers will chew on the food and then they will feed the babies or young kids like that. So it has been masticated easily for them to digest. So the book Bhagavata, the person Bhagavatam is like that. He reads, he understands, and he gives it in a digestible way for the hearers. Yeah. And so we serve such personalities for their mercy. Yeah. Okay.
In absence of, I know, I shouldn't say it's, we don't have time, of course, it's just an excuse, but for hearing Bhagavad every day from, because nowadays in YouTube you can hear live from every corner of the world. So what about that? Does that equivalent to, I mean, I know it's not as same as effect as reading.
You have to read. Hearing is there, but you have to read also. Just like you can play Prabhupada's chanting and you can say, I'm hearing him chant, so do I have to chant? Huh?
I have to chant.
Okay, so you have to read also. Yeah. Because when you read, it's between you and Krishna and the personalities in the book, and you will have realizations also. When you hear other people's realization. Just like I'm giving you some of my realizations. It may help you, or it may even leave you in more dire consequences or confused. But when you read, then you also have your own level of understanding, and then you can work on it, then become better. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Prabhupada once said like that, when you read my books, just don't read them once and then come to me, Swamiji, what does this mean? He said that it comes from revelation. He said, read my books over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
that, I did bring that up.
Yeah.
The newer and newer realizations every time you read. It's a fact. I've been through it.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Maharaj, of course, Maharaj, I know you've been studying Srimad Bhagavatam, so what is and for sure there are many topics in there which are very, very relishable, so I wanted to hear from you what are the relishable topics that you really find very attractive in Srimad Bhagavatam.
The Bhagavatam is for everyone. So every individual will find every topic relishable. Every individual who has a different attraction will find that area very attractive. Someone into Varnashram will be attracted by the Varnashram topics Prabhupada talks. Someone is into fighting will enjoy the parts where the warrior Kshatriyas are fighting. They will relish that, Essentially, we are attracted to, maybe because of our lifestyle and so on, we may be attracted to certain aspects of Bhagavatam, but as you become more and more pure, you will be attracted to that which is your eternal rasa. It will come automatically, but you cannot force that. You don't even know who you are at the moment. But yeah, I actually enjoy many parts, but Krishna book is my favorite book. Yeah, I like all the pastimes. Yeah, but some of them are technical, especially the prayers by the Vedas. But still, if you read it a few times, you'll be okay. I remember the first time I read Brahma Samhita, it was very difficult to understand. Then I said, I can't keep it aside, and I read all the other Prabhupada's books. Then later on, about a few years later, I went and I could understand it better. Yeah. And then you can relish it also. The reason why you don't feel excited about some topics is because you don't understand it. But as soon as you understand it, you start feeling excited. So that's why we have to constantly read, and then enthusiasm will come. But you should have the faith that if you keep at it, Krishna will bless you, because it's a transcendental activity. It's not a mundane thing. Yeah. So you can keep at it. Yeah, Krishna book is my favorite. Yes. No, you.
Quick one, Maharaj. So we have Srila Prabhupada's books, but then now we also have so many books written by, ISKCON sannyasis.
Yeah.
And how do we balance that? Because yes, Prabhupada's books are the basis, but then sometimes, like, I like reading, the memoirs, by TKG's Diary, Servant, My Glorious Master, books like that too. What is a good balance to have between? They describe Prabhupada's pastimes.
Yeah.
and all that, but still,
Well,
yeah.
a good balance would be read Prabhupada's books first.
Yeah.
Let's say you allocated an hour a day for reading, so read his book first, maybe half an hour, and then the other half an hour you read those books that are bona fide.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
There's so many books floating out there.
So, they are lighter reads
Yeah,
in some sense.
I understand. Yes.
Actually, I just want to ask a very basic, very complex question though. So basically, we have Mahalakshmi. So Mahalakshmi is wife of Vishnu, and Radharani is like Krishna Bhagwan. So basically, are they one? Like, are Radha Krishna one?
One with?
Like, are they like, they're two actually?
Okay,
But are they like one?
in ontological understanding, right, based on Jiva Goswami's treatise on Sandarbhas and all, he makes it very clear. Ontologically, based on the characteristics and the function and so on, Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even in Bhagavatam, Mete Cham Sakala Krishna, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. It says very clearly that from Krishna every other expansion comes. Yeah. So we follow our Acharya's understanding there. Of course, if you go to Sri Sampradaya and so on, they see that same verse differently. And they emphasize Narayana worship as well. But if you look at the characteristics, the qualities exhibited by Krishna, he has 64 qualities. Whereas Narayana and Mahavishnu only displays 60 qualities. So based on that, we can say, this is based on counting. So then, but they are both supreme person, but the exhibition of qualities by Krishna is more. Therefore, we understand that he is the Swayam Bhagavan. And based on the Bhagavatam, from Krishna, the first expansion is Balaram, and from Balaram, he has the first Narayana expansion. From him comes the first Chaturvyuha, and from the Shankarshan of the first Chaturvyuha, you get another Narayana form who gives a second Chaturvyuha, and from that Shankarshan of the second Chaturvyuha comes Mahavishnu. From Mahavishnu comes Garbhodakasha Vishnu and Shirodakasha Vishnu within this material world, universe. So you can see how the whole process of creation is. So if you understand that, then you have no problem. But if you still are attracted to Narayana, there's no problem because not different.
No. We actually have been worshipping Radha Govind.
Okay.
From the very beginning.
Jaipur.
We were in such a family. Every
Jaipur.
day we used to go to Mangla Aarti.
Jaipur.
Jaipur.
Okay.
Every day. So we
Jai.
had like,
Shri Radha Govinda
Yeah.
Ji ki.
Yeah.
Jai.
So every day we used to go to
Okay.
Govind Dev Ji.
Okay.
And I've been raised with my nana. So she's like, basically Govind Dev Ji. All in my family Krishna. I was Shivji.
Yeah.
And now Shivji has passed the fight to Govind Dev Ji.
Now you go back to Govinda.
Krishna.
Yeah, because Krishna is Vaishnavans tu
I'm
yatasham
only
guru.
Shivji in the house, but now, I'm also Krishna.
Very nice. Good for you. That's why you're very happy. Yeah.
Same with chanting, with reading. Some people say, should we chant? Should we read a specific quantity, or should we concentrate on quality? What would your answer be?
It's a good question. Do we have quality or do we do quantity? It depends on the individual again. If you want to spend time understanding a Shastra, then it's best to sign up for some Bhakti Shastra course or something where emphasis is given how to study and go deeper, right? But one shouldn't compromise chanting at all. Chanting is always the main thing, yeah. And then you can spend quality time studying under a tutor properly, and then you become good. Okay, we can stop here. I want to thank all of you for welcoming me here in Canberra. So hopefully I will have an opportunity to come again. Yes, in April.
Cross that word. Definitely.
After the ladies, if they so allow me, I'll come back and hopefully have more exchanges. And hopefully we have better timings, schedules, more participation. Yeah. All right. So
I would like to have like a full day seminar with you, just to get that
Rasa.
right. These small ones are